get back to briefly. So let's start with the Giannis news, man. Like, it sounds like Giannis is gonna stay in Milwaukee and try to run it back with the Bucks and try to win another championship or three here in Cream City. That's great, man.
A lot of reports. He's been in Brazil, like this last week, basically, and he was down there saying he was being interviewed something about playing, and he said, the final. There's something about the finals and playing, farther in the postseason. He said the finals are different, but I hope to be soon back with the Bucks. Basically, just solidifying that. So, Woj on ESPN, confirmed. I don't know if he's on ESPN anymore. He might not be on there anymore, but Woj confirmed that he, that's kind of steering that way. So yeah, that's just great news. I mean, what does that mean in the long run? I know, like, I've saw a lot of reports with like John Horst, the GM, who just got an extension as well, saying like, we're gonna obviously give you more, more, we want more input from you, more creative outlook, anything and everything to help this team. Basically saying, again, it's yours, Giannis, to to hopefully mold and shape, and we're gonna do what we can do, do what we can do, to keep you happy and to keep us winning. And they obviously know that you're not going to have Dame Lillard probably next year, obviously, because he just, had that injury in the playoffs. Was it Achilles or ACL? I can't remember.
It was something down there. I can't.
Yeah. I can't remember. It's been too long.
I want to say it was the Achilles.
Yeah, I want to say so too. So, you're going to have that gap gone.
Achilles tendon tear.
Yeah, rupture. I see it now. Yeah, so you have him, without this next year. But again, what can you do to make this team get out of the first round and get back to the finals? Because, in all honesty, Giannis is a force, and he just needs right pieces around him to do it. And it's not just the superstars; it's just the right pieces right now. Like, he is a force to be reckoned with. You got to just have those guys who can shoot and play defense. And, what we're going to do with that big man in the middle, too, is another question, which we'll probably get to in a second. But because, the free agents is Lopez, Connaughton, and Portis right now, too. So everyone's, like we've talked about all the time, is everyone's old on this team. So a lot of question marks. But, yeah, you just got to keep him happy, surround him with the right players, and I think it's going to be a no-brainer. We can do this. We can get back to the finals. Kevin Porter Jr. sounds like they're going to retain, and I think that's excellent. You need to have him. And, like everybody else, Gary Trent Jr. was just crushing at the end last year, too. So there's going to be guys there that are going to help. It's just going to be really interesting to see, like, what this draft brings, if anything. Are we moving people to get draft picks? Or just kind of staying there, and I don't know. It's gonna be interesting, especially with this news. If he's really gonna stay, which sounds 90-some%, I would say he's staying with Milwaukee. What are they gonna do to make this year successful without a big piece in Damian Lillard?
And I think with as far as the draft goes, I don't think you're trying to get more pieces. I think they have a second round pick this year, if I recall correctly. I don't think they have a first round pick this year. So
I don't think so either.
If that's the case, you just try to get a playmaker or use that second round pick, in a trade for something else or future picks. I don't think if all you've got is a second round pick this year, unless you get a guy who can play right away, even as like a role player, if you can get that, that's great. But if short of that, just get rid of it. Get out of this draft entirely. That's my opinion. You've got young talent on this squad. You don't need another one of those if you're bringing Giannis back, because you're not rebuilding with Giannis on the roster ever, I don't think. You're always going to try to compete for a championship. That's what I would do. I don't run NBA franchises though. Maybe I should.
Mm.
I could
Some of them you
I could probably run Phoenix better than anybody's running that.
I mean, with all
fire.
that talent last year, like, I mean, I know there's injuries and whatnot, but you had enough of it to be like, how did you not win more games?
The most expensive roster in history never made the playoffs.
Like, just looked terrible at times. Like, terrible. I mean, Coach Bud gets fired again. And I don't know how much of that fault it is. I think it was just goddamn laziness. I mean, like, people didn't just don't want to play there. I don't get it. Like, I know we're getting off topic from Wisconsin sports, but Jesus, like Durant, Booker, like Bradley, you pulled him out of the depths of hell in Washington. He's been there for 412 years or whatever. And you're thinking like, man, this guy can do something. And then I remember the big three or four. Who's the there's another star on there too, wasn't there?
They had DeAndre Ayton, but I don't know if I'd call him part of that.
Yeah, but like so, like they could never like stay healthy and be with and play all together, and then like when they did, it's just dumpster fire, and you're like, how? What is going on? But again, we've talked about this a million times too. Maybe too many cooks in the kitchen,
Yeah, I think it's probably a little of that. Everybody on that squad wants the ball. Bringing it back to the Bucks, though.
We'll see how that works. That's my just real quick.
Where
looking into the future.
Going? Yeah. Yeah, I can get behind that. You brought it up earlier, Brook Lopez. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't see the Bucks bringing him back personally. I just don't think he's worth the money that he's going to cost for what he brings. Like, he's just a little he's too far past his prime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that. I don't know if there's much more to say than that.
I mean, 37 years old. You've been playing since you've been 19. You got drafted, after his freshman year, I think, of college with Robin. 13-5-2 last year. 2 blocks per game. So he's still playing defense. Don't get me wrong. He's just, every time we watch him, it's just like he's just a click slower almost. Mm-hmm. It's just, and you're playing like this Indiana Pacers team who's, up 2-1 in the finals right now. They're fast as hell, and he could, like, when they play them, your Brook Lopez's just can't keep up with that anymore, So, yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, the money's not going to be worth it to bring him back. And I feel like the Rockets and the Lakers are 2 teams that need a center that you can get cheaper and maybe a year or 2 until you find that other pick. Because, like, Steve Adams leaves Houston, which is a possibility. That's a good fit, That's what you need, a center, a real center, which, are hard to find in the NBA. And then LA needs one because they shipped Davis away, Imagine having him with Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves, like, that's a pretty good four right there.
Yeah, right? Like, I'd take that. Although, and given the way the Lakers played in this playoffs, I think they really want to try to bring it back harder. Anyway, we're getting kind of away from our home a little bit here. Any other? You mentioned Bobby Portis. Any notes on him? I think I'd like to see him stay, but I don't know that the Bucks need him necessarily.
Yeah, I think they will because, again, losing Brook, Bobby's a good defender, I feel like, as well, especially in that post.
That's true.
So him and Giannis, and if Jericho Sims, I'm thinking he's going to be around still too. If those 3 are like the guys in the middle, if you want to call it, I think that's what you need. I think you need to retain Bobby Portis because I don't think he's going to cost more.
Yeah.
He might even be a little bit less because, again, he's getting older. And he loves it here, so a good hometown discount maybe too. He won already here. Why not? Why leave? So, and I feel like he's which is fine by me. I feel like he's become that villain in Milwaukee in a way, like for us, where like the Bobby chance has just gotten too much for every other NBA team. You know, like people are just like, I don't want to deal with it. You know, like he's the mayor of Milwaukee, and I'm like, damn right he is. He's
Yeah,
staying here, so let's just keep that mayor where he's supposed to be,
yeah,
because it's gonna be really weird being like somewhere else, and he's the mayor of Milwaukee. It just doesn't make sense.
yeah. Agreed, agreed. He's like he's approaching like icon status, and you can't get rid of a
Yeah,
guy like that.
you can't. And then other one like Pat Connaughton I mentioned too. I don't know. I don't really think he's going to be on the team anymore either,
Yeah, no.
unless he takes a really really significant pay cut coming back. He did. They just didn't use him a lot last year. I mean, he had that like 43-point game in the last game of the regular season or something. So again, he's like, I can ball. I was in a dunk contest. I
Hmm.
can still jump. Like so. He's still a good asset, but again, I don't know.
He
Do
could
we
get.
keep him this year on a discount and now he plays more because Dame's gone and like he's just that veteran you're gonna have in there more? I don't know, but I just don't feel like he's gonna be retained or re-signed.
Yeah, I think another team will pay him more than the Bucks are willing to pay him.
And he's gonna
Whether
play more on that team too.
Yeah, oh yeah, and whether that's like smart by the Bucks, I don't know. I still, like you say, I still think Pat Connaughton's got a lot of life in his legs. He can
Especially basically
definitely.
sitting on the bench a whole year.
Yeah,
Like it's like you kind of have like I get that year back. I don't know, like it's a lot of game like it's a whole year without game legs. That's
mm-hmm.
it's gotta be tough too.
Yeah. So let us know in the comments who you think the Bucks should keep, or if
Yeah,
you agree, disagree. Who should they keep? Who should they get rid of? Now that
or
we're
should you
pretty
find
sure Giannis is gonna stick around. Yeah, or who maybe to pick up. Um,
some hidden
of the
gems
free
like a
agents.
KPJ because again that was under the radar last year. I knew who he was, but didn't know that the Clippers had this guy and just didn't utilize him at all. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah, and there's not a ton on the free agent market right now, but that
no.
all these guys will